Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rule. Low, low, low.
And folks, we promised you another real ripper of a match. And today we hope to deliver on that promise. Today, we are on Harashasha. And Rang, who are we seeing?
On the left-hand side in blue, we have BabyLucario playing 20th Panzer with a Vanguard income. On the right-hand side in the red, we have Scherwi playing the 2nd Blinde, also with a Vanguard income.
Now, you were saying just before, of course, that we went live with this cast that super heavy rushing, super everything. I mean, like, lots of cardio in this matchup.
Yeah.
Lots of cardio.
We've got two pretty aggressive early Panzer tank divisions going at it, so it should be pretty interesting. Blinde and 20th Panzer, two of my, the two divisions I really like seeing a lot in these sorts of replays due to their aggressiveness, so we'll see how it has to go. I mean, in the center here, it's a bloody flame war with all these Flammenwerfers, but both sides being very defensive.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of expect that from the 20th Panzer, especially because we have an airsats opening.
Yeah.
But of course, actually, we saw the deck just a couple of seconds ago. It's not going to be a whole lot of difference over here in Phase B. We're going to be actually be seeing some Osttrooping as well. So I'm trying to square in my mind really how the French will match up against this kind of wait-and-see play. Yeah,
because the 20th Panzer does have some good long-range AT, like Flak 88, the IS-2, the Pike 43s. On a map like this, that can work pretty well, but the French, the Shermans are great at close quarters. They have some pretty gnarly infantry, and the half-tracks can definitely help renew said fights. But down south, things are very defensive. In the center, things are very defensive. And up north, we have two Flammenwerfers who are risking it for the biscuit and trying to run to the other side.
Well, the mildly amusing thing, too, is we have these PaK 184s that captured 45 Russian mills. Putting fire on a Char B2, Char M4A2.
Yeah.
And other than that, though, not a lot of aggression.
Not at all here. Both sides are really just building up. This is kind of anticlimactic. I was expecting, you know, crazy Vanguard rush, you know, some sort of flank push. You're seeing some Mercedes trooping and Flammenwerfer try to push down south here. It will probably go terribly for them, as is not surprising.
I admit I was watching these guys to the north. I was thinking it was going to be some sort of like champion fight between the Flammenwerfer and the Flame Squads. But
yeah.
Doesn't look like they're going to be really engaging each other here. Half-Track goes down for the first kills of the game. So that's actually kind of surprising. Half-Track is the first to die. I feel like it should have been something like this massive wave of Flame troops.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah, down south, the airsats trooping are going to run into a rather nasty hot flame roar here between both sides. And Suri really should have enough firepower, quite literally, to keep these guys at bay.
Well, the Voltigieros by themselves are more than enough, but the flame troops are just going to blunt the initial kind of push, and then from there, it'll get thrown back pretty quickly.
Yeah. Both fours being set up and a bunch of Panzer fours being brought into the center here. So eventually, I mean, both sides are actually building up quite a decent amount of force in the center. We got a whole bunch of Shermans as well. I mean, this is the Greenhorn Cup tournament, so these are more newer players to the game, so please keep it in mind. So I do understand a bit of the timidness. But I feel like what's going to happen is they're just going to build up their force until they're comfortable with, like, you know, half a dozen Shermans or Panzers, and then they will push.
You know, it's one of those things, I think I've always been kind of confused that there's just kind of that very naked aggression overall. I always wanted to kind of see more of a reserve play built up, and then throwing forward, you know, the 6 tanks, the 8 tanks. Yes, you will come up against a greater number of enemy forces, but the odds are, unless the enemy is massing exactly where you expect them to be, you should be able to make an actual breakthrough. And I wonder sometimes if that was an intention of the game designers to be more aggressive or more timid, or to actually be able to allow both those kind of playstyles here.
Mm-hmm.
But as we kind of see it continue on, we get a short firefight down to the south. Not unexpected there. Now we have 3 Panthers being moved on in. I think with this 81mm stovepipe moving in with a half-track. Ooh, 2 of them, in fact. So my suspicion is once they get in play and on their own particular position, we'll see maybe some firepower. Because I don't know. I'm feeling that someone's definitely been seeing our cats about artillery and how to use it. So
yeah, I do like
that
seeing that mortar half track quite a bit, because I definitely, as you've seen, getting some very good hits in that defensive position here. Now, with the extra like firepower being brought in, the Shermans and all of that, I mean, if he knocks out his Ersatz troop and if he does decide to actually be aggressive, I feel like he could get to the other side and capture a hill, which would be a pretty big play. We do see a T-34 being brought in, but nothing really all that scary, and 2 mortar half-tracks into the town. I mean, you're actually seeing he's going to be pushing up with these Panther 4s into the town here, finally. Going to be running up against a single Sherman. One of them gets bailed out. Here we go.
That is always rough to see, a super, like, first shot bailout. You're like, oh, man, either kill me or leave me there, but just don't. The bailout is like, not to say I would ever know. It's like, I feel like it's like kissing your sister. Like, why the heck would you ever want to see that?
Unless you're in Alabama. But, yeah.
To all of our viewers in Mississippi, you know what we're talking about.
Yes. Here we go. We got a push in the center here. Finally, a bit of action. The Shermans are going to be leading the charge and taking some some casualties. Scherwi's trying to move up a bazooka to get, a bazooka shot in, but the mortar half tracks are coming in to drop in some fire. Both sides are going to pull back for now after that little splat.
Skirmish. But you know, that's kind of the important thing though too. Like, I actually really like this mortar plate. And there's an air. Okay, yeah, he saw the bazooka troop, and now he's moving for a quick. Oh, this is actually a nice difference. I mean, we're so used to seeing. Oh no, he's gonna nuke his own troops though. Back up! Back up! No! No!
Oh, they are such troop, and they're supposed to get shot. Enemies or friendlies, who knows?
Now, one thing I'm a little bit excited for actually as well is to see some of these Ju-87s. Now, on a lot of different divisions, Ju-87, not really that scary. But when you're looking over here at so much of the French equipment, Sherman's not going to get taken out, but what it can be is stressed out very, very quickly. But at the same time, we're also going to see these Bofors behind the front lines too. So we're seeing this really weird push-pull, and I think some really interesting potential kind of setups.
Yeah, I'm really quite fascinated by this match. I know it's probably not as interesting for the viewers at home because it's not as crazy high-level play. But this is, I mean, like I said before, these are like more newer players to the game, and it's actually interesting to see how they play, because this is completely different to how we see like usual aggressive play and pushing and flanking and all of that. It's also very weird to see like 10 Ersatz troop and just being rushing up north.
I know what you're talking about. That's how I play consistently, and I win all the time.
Of course, Khan.
Because God knows I loathe Ersatz trooping.
Yeah. As we all know, also know, Khan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. In the meantime, though, we mean some slight redeployments. Sherman's kind of jockeying for some position, and the champion war will now commence as these flame troops are going to start pushing back the French flame troops, and this might be the perfect time to get the Ersatz troop in here.
Yeah, you're going to be unloading them by the forest, and I think we're going to see like a decent push here. Like, he's going to get a bit of ground. There's not really much here from Scherwi. I keep saying that name wrong, I apologize. And Sherman's not in a good position to fire. And as you can see, he's now moving into a position so he can fire. But that's just a lot of Ersatz trooping. It's going to take and god damn, that was a good shot, the Panzer III. It's a very good push from BabyLucario. We're actually seeing a Vanguard aggressive rush play right at the end of A phase.
With Ersatz Truppen.
With Ersatz Truppen of all bloody things. But it's working. It's working, guys. And for BabyLucario, that's all that matters.
The one thing I am going to go and nitpick a little bit on is when we're seeing like some of these anti-tank troops over here in the center, that like the Panzervernichtungstungs. Just a small thing to both players. Make sure you have either hold fire on.
Oh yeah.
Because those troops are way too good to be throwing them away and kind of this head, straight up firepower. Unless you are severely hurting for infantry, you do not want to be wasting such valuable troops.
Yeah, that's an annoying thing with them, because they have the G43, so they have longer range, where usually the bazooka troops or Panzerschreck troops only have SMGs, so you never have to worry about it.
I hate to interrupt, but look down to the south real quick. It looks like Scherwi over here is equally, like, no. That's not how you rush. This is how you rush. Because now we have, what, 3 Shermans. We have another 3 or 4 squads of infantry being brought on in right now as we speak. And then with all these Heroes, I mean, this could be game-changing over here in the south. Okay, you got the north, I'll take the south.
It's like both sides have had this pent-up aggression against each other for the first 10 minutes, and now they're letting it go. They're just gathering everything and attack move ration, and this is great. It's a great counterplay from Scherwi. Like, he's gonna take his position. There's only 2 tanks here. Can't do too much. I mean, the half-tracks is gonna drive right by.
Yeah, he's donating the half-tracks, I will say that. But there's moments of really, really great play here. It's just the idea of just fine-tuning it, and I think what you said before is absolutely right. I love watching newer players play, especially after the game has been out now for a fair bit of time. You get to see exactly what's been going through in terms of the meta, in terms of the mindset, and really how are the lessons being kind of gained by previous engagements being implemented here.
Yeah.
Like, Scherwi, we've seen actually a couple of different games over here with Scherwi in recent weeks, I think.
Yeah, in the 2v2 tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah, the T-34, he's just an absolute champ, holding this position completely by himself. I mean,
it's helpful in that he really has to worry about the tanks, because that's one of the major weaknesses, though, of our friends the French, is that they don't really believe in a lot of that anti-tank weaponry on their infantry.
Yeah, it's really only the sappers that are equipped with it, and, well, at least they're equipped with bazookas, but the T-34 does go down, and that's going to be the Southern Hill under control, so Northern Hill...
Also, forgive me for cutting you off again real quick, but there's a really weird thing that we have 2 Shermans somehow...
Fuck?
Yeah, look at you.
What the
in the middle,
fuck?
Right?
How did they get here?
I wish I could tell you, but we have like this weird kind of Swiss cheese lines, which is fantastic and yet terrifying all at once.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this so much. This is absolutely completely unorthodox play. And like these Shermans, I feel like he's gonna. He might be able to blow up the mortar half tracks if he actually had like recon to spot them. But here we go. We just got a gaggle of Messerschmitts coming in to blow them up to smithereens.
Well, and the Bofors, I think, are just far enough forward they can actually pick up. Yeah, they'll be able to push them back there.
Oh. And there we go. The Southern Post is just, continuously, choo-choo, continuing on. I'm trying to think of something else funny word-wise, but it's not coming up to me. I mean, just the amount of French infantry barging through his forest is absolutely scary. And BabyLucario is still only have Ersatz Truppen. He is in B phase now. He does have Panzer Grenadiers and Pioneers, which he really should be using. And because, yeah, Ersatz Truppen.
Indeed.
Alright, let's look at all the Panzer IVs in the center here, Khan. Got like a whole 2 platoon draft. Try and counter these Shermans breaking through the town.
Did they modify the stress?
The stress?
Timing, the de-stress timing? The de-stress timing, so I think the Sherman just dropped that super amount of stress super fast.
I don't think so. They're just pretty cool-headed. It's pretty funny how you can de-stress behind enemy lines. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, but
you've seen this movie. It's like the Dirty Dozen. Like I mean, geez, they went to an enemy pleasure house, and they were happy there, right?
That's very true. That is very true. But yeah, we've got like Scherwi is making some very good aggressive plays for his center position now. You know, Sherman's and Towns are scary, and once again, it's only Erzherztruppen. Once you realize it's only Erzherztruppen, you can easily break through. But up north, I mean, it is still only Erzherztruppen, but they are backed up by some Panzer IIIs, and at closer range, those Panzer IIIs are pretty nasty tanks.
Certainly true, and not for nothing either. Even that short barrel P4 is going to be more than enough. Major concern is if the F4A3 is able to push them back, that is going to be huge.
Yeah.
But if they kill him first,
Comes the 76 Sherman, and he is ready to, shoot tanks and blow up tanks. And he's doing that just well. And unfortunately, it's no, like, it needs to be a perfect position to have a Panzerschreck nearby to blow him up, or an anti-tank gun, but it's not going to be the case. And Scherwi just using the sheer, amount of overwhelming French firepower loaned to him by the Americans is going to be enough to just, I feel like, retake his northern side. And it's really not looking good for BabyLucario. Just, he's getting pushed pretty hard. I mean, down south, he's almost lost the spawn. He is so close to losing the spawn.
that's okay. We got clusters.
Is he... Okay, he's clustering a tank, thank God. I was about to say, if he was going to cluster the infantry, I'd be very concerned.
The almost unfortunate thing is that the 250 kilogram bomb, I think, was the one who got the immediate kill.
Yeah. He is upgrading from Erzherztruppen now, and finally getting Osttruppen now, so... It's an improvement.
And you know what? I have to say, I know a lot of people don't like using massed air power, but that was a perfect use of air power to keep your backline safe.
Yeah, that's going to clutch it, I feel like, for BabyLucario, because it's knocked out most of the tank down south and a good amount of the infantry, so the Osttruppen can finally push through. And as much as we also malign Osttruppen, they're not that bad against the French, as the French, most of the infantry, such as the Voltigeurs and Chasseurs, do lack machine guns. And you have an MG42, or 34. It's an MG34. And, having a machine gun, especially an MG34, is quite nice. I mean, I would still be pretty disheartened if I was a foreign soldier being forced to fight for the Nazis during World War II. But I'd be slightly less disheartened if they gave me an MG34.
Folks, just to let you know, we feel necessary to disclose that part of Rangu's ancestors were part of the, was it the Broken Wing Eagle Legion or whatever the heck that was?
Oh,
had, like...
the British SS Legion?
Yes.
Where it's like only 30 guys they could actually recruit, and they just sent them to the Eastern Front, I believe. Oh. Imagine picking that after the war, and actually, I don't know what the hell happened to those guys. They probably all died, I guess. But what a weird,
Absolutely.
weird bit of history. They're not uncommon because there was a lot of foreign legion German units.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by the fact that there were 5 P4s all shellacking a single Superior squad. It's weird to see so much tracer fire come over here from the Germans, because usually there's not that many Germans in the area.
No, yeah. But we're just seeing... It's a battle of blobs, Khan. We got blobs of Shermans and blobs of Panzer IVs, and it's working. I mean, it's not working too well for BabyLucario. He's losing a lot of points very quickly right now. He needs flags, and he needs them right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting to see that. I'm just trying to work with the numbers in my head as we're talking here. I feel like if he gets one more airstrike down to the south, if he's able to identify the fighting positions. Oh, okay, never mind. He's got his Osttruppen going to a different zip code.
Yeah, he's got his I do like that maneuver, because that would capture 2 flags and there's nothing there to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take him a while. That's a bit of a jog.
Yeah, but I mean, they're Osttruppen. They're used to going long distances.
It's true. They're just heading east. Heading back home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Korea's a long ways away, but they'll get there. And in the center, this mass of P4s, it's a little bit lighter. We have seen a couple of kills here, a bailout or two. But it is still enough, I think, unless the Superior squad is able to get a kill. it's enough to keep people at arm's length? No. I am
Plus,
really impressed by the reactive play.
yeah, up north we've got the cluster bomber being brought in, and the flak ATA's in a surprisingly good defensive position to shut down outpost by knocking out Sherman at least. So, yeah, I mean, both sides are microing pretty poorly. Just the newer players, so I don't want to give them like too much slack. But I mean, that's one of the things that new players always have like a hard time with. But they are like, you can kind of see the tactics that they are trying to employ at least.
You don't want to give them too much flack. That's the job of the Bofors in the 88, right?
Exactly, Khan. Exactly.
And well, the MB-109 is this beautiful little like we're bringing in two plane elements, and now we're gonna bring them both back out again.
Yeah, but he's got one. You really want to blow up his sappers, which is definitely a good call, just due to how bunched up they are. Here comes the two bloody big runs. And as he didn't do that much, I'm really quite disheartened about that.
You're disheartened?
Yeah, I'm
guys,
disheartened.
Told you, trooping, air/slash trooping. This is something I told you.
Yep.
Ranks ancestors, man. P4 is being brought on the short barrel ones, of course. Not there for the killing power. It's more for the shutting down the ground pound power.
Yeah, just knocking out infantry, but I mean, Scherwi does have a decent amount of Shermans, and in this town fight, Shermans do definitely win out supreme. I mean, BabyLucario still just spamming Oz troop, and I don't think he's brought up. Oh, he has brought up some Panzer Grenadiers. That's good because I feel like he's just been getting through all his like crappy reserve troops first, and he's like, okay, they're all dead. I'm gonna have to bring in like the proper guys now.
But you kind of understand that though too. If I can force all of the second blinde infantry to come out early, remember they're not blessed with deep reserves. We get the C phase we're working with right now, Voluntaries.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Like both compared to both divisions. 20th Panzer is definitely built a bit more deeper for that C phase. I mean, there's 2 C phase infantry cards, so he's going hardcore.
Actually, one thing I'm surprising about this too is I'm only feeling like I'm seeing my first M8 Sipahi down to the south. I'm sure they've been out before, but like this is the first time I actually kind of
really think so, Khan. This hasn't. He doesn't have any of the A phase Greyhounds in the tank tab. It's really just using the recon runs instead, which is quite surprising because we usually see a good amount of recon rush Greyhound play.
Justifiably, but just still, it is a surprise to be sure.
But a welcome one. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've got a bunch of infantry being spammed into the center of the Messerschmitts, just blowing up some stuff up north. BabyLucario has managed to get into a better position now. He's still losing slowly, but better than losing quickly.
unless you have dinner really on the stove, at which point lose as quickly as you want to.
Yes. Yes.
JU-87, is he going for? Oh yes, he's definitely going for those tanks coming down. And I am surprised there's a single Bofors down here, but I don't think he has any kind of range on this. If I could give another... No, what are you doing? Oh, okay. It's just one of those bizarre things where the...
He misses. You miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Greyhound is a slippery foe. There's a horde of... just a horde of infantry slowly making their way through. And, I mean, Scherwi has, 2 vehicles here, and the infantry can't really do much against him. But still, that's a lot of dudes he's going to have to shoot through.
I confess I've been scooting back and forth between the south and the middle part of the map, because the middle part of the map has all the Voluntaries moving on in. And really, it's another tank engagement shaping up here, just between P4s and Shermans. And I don't know if the Shermans are going to get overmatched this time. They've taken out 2 or 3 quick kills.
Yeah. We still haven't seen the IS-2 being brought in from 20th Panzer. That'd definitely be a pretty good matchup in the center to knock out Shermans. As the French have nothing that can directly penetrate the IS-2 in their division. It'd really have to rely on air power, and he only has 2 P-38s to effectively do that.
It is a significant investment, though, too.
Yeah, it is, but it's a raw run because it's, you know, big bloody tank which you can't bloody move. It would just sit here and look menacing. Down
it's
south,
a great thing in many opportunities. I'm sorry.
down south, the Greyhound is going for a flank around, it seems. And the infantry is, you know, migrating across to the other hill.
Well,
It's a lot of bloody infantry.
Voluntaries get a little bit further forwards. Sherman's not going to be able to support any kind of... Yep, and they're starting to engage them from range, and this is the Voluntaries get torn to shreds.
Yeah. Messerschmitt's coming in, continuously just blowing up your positions, being very good use of air power from Lucario here. Definitely keeping him in the match. He hasn't been trading too well in the town. The French infantry are just, you know, a little bit better class compared to the German ones. Even the Voluntaries do pretty well in town fights as they have a decent amount of CQC firepower.
Well, yeah, but that presupposes they're able to get to close range.
Yeah. Messerschmitt is going to be, yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, looking down to the south, that the infantry, unfortunately, has been caught out in the open. Those French are just... They're getting French fried. That's what they're getting.
I think they wish they didn't volunteer at this point.
Well, my frog legs, huh? Not really getting the support they might have been needing here. There's the Sherman going down as well. That's the end of that push. There's no way they're going to be able to get through there.
Yeah, yeah. And, I mean, BabyLucario is essentially just pushing this entire southern flank with only infantry. He has no tanks backing him up. It's just a blob of Germans, and it's working slowly but surely. If he can get into that forest, he's going to be a real pain in the ass to try and rout out. I mean, the Beauforts and Greyhound can only shoot so much.
But you don't want to win because you hit a preset kill limit. This isn't, Futurama. This is... They may be digital troops, but they're your digital troops, gosh darn it. Like,
yeah.
You gotta watch out for that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean...
No, please go for it.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but the reason we're seeing this, though, too, is in the central position, yes, there's one bazooka troop, and yes, there's a Superior squad here and there, but now he's got a full platoon and a half of tanks. He's bringing tons of infantry. The Southern's that's just a sideshow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were going to say that, sir. Please.
No, but yeah, it's just like the horde of infantry down south. If you can get into that forest, that's going to be pretty nasty to try and rout out here. And BabyLucario, he's slowly getting back, but Scherwi is still... Oh no, it's down to a 12-12. The flag in the town has been flipped. Like, it's not looking great. I mean, it's looking decent for Scherwi. I still feel like he has a good defensive overall, but... I don't know, I think both sides could probably exploit trying to just do a crazy rush up north.
The whole thing is, too, is that there is now a giant hole in the lines that's being held by 2 half-tracks and a flamethrower team that's another kilometer behind the front lines. This is a massive gap, and I think Scherwi is only seeing that now. BabyLucario, he's ready to evolve, man.
Oh, no.
There's definitely going to be a different push that's going to be happening here.
At least sounds like, you know, child Lucario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get the new TM outflank. Which I guess is the entire point of the Greenhorn Cup, though, too, isn't it? So, geez, all those German half-tracks. You know, it was funny. I mean, back in SD44, half-tracks were just an endangered species for the Germans. And this one, they're a little bit less endangered, but we're starting to see them with their natural habitat, with their, the alphas, the P4s kind of watching over them, and the infantry itself. The only thing missing from this combined arms push is actual artillery.
Yeah. Fighting against the Western Front divisions, you can definitely utilize half-tracks much more efficiently. As in, like, there's the Russians, you have 1,000,001 anti-tank rifles, which will shut down your half-track plays.
Yes.
It's quite nice to see. It's also just, very good testament to the Russians, and this anti-tank rifles, even by 44, in a video game at least, I can't really speak about real life, are pretty useful to have still. I don't know what the British were talking about getting rid of the boys rifle, Imagine having the boys rifle and ST-44 with some of the British divisions. It definitely be a pretty big game changer.
Forgive me, I was watching a JU-87 down south taking out a couple of those Greyhounds. So that is one rabbit they will never catch again. Oh. Spitfire, desperate to get after him. He's not going to get there in time, though, I don't think.
Oh, he's not fast enough. But Scherwi has managed to pretty much halt any southern shenanigans being, brought out here. He could counterpush, as we can see, as like 4 infantry squads holding that entire hill. That's not a lot of infantry squads, a few Shermans can, backed up of infantry.
He doesn't know that, really. He
doesn't.
Knows there's a couple of P-Grunt squads.
Yeah.
He knows there might be an Austrooper or two that survived the ridiculous pushes back and forth. But he doesn't know anything else other than that.
Yeah, but also he's getting pushed pretty heavy in the center, and I feel like he is deploying most of his forces here.
Justifiably as well.
Yeah.
And that's all the Voluntaries, another MA Spahi, and another Sherman. Problem is if the Sherman goes down, I think everything else goes down as well.
Yeah, it's looking pretty tenacious in the central position here. I mean, we're finally upgraded to Pioneer SVTs, which are actually really scary infantry to fight against. They have all those REL SVTs. So the French are starting to look a little bit lackluster. And yeah, it's kind of funny what you said earlier about, it's kind of a smart idea of throwing out your crappy reserve troops first, especially against the French, because you just kind of wear them down to use up all their good troops early.
Interestingly enough, the ME-109s were just going to bomb an empty territory. Apparently they didn't like that neighborhood, and they were going for some urban redevelopment. I'm not sure what that was.
I have no words, Khan. Yeah, okay. So, the Voluntaries are just being rushed in to try and, defend what's left of the central town position here. It's not going to be enough. The Panzer IVs are a pretty nasty position. And yeah, it's just down to that 1-2 Shermans coming in to try and hold things out.
Him bombing that part of the neighborhood kind of reminds me of like Mystery Men, right near the climax, and it's like, see, I killed my own men. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but it's 1,000 kilograms of bombs, like fire that someplace else, man.
Yeah. If you're watching this, BabyLucario, please tell me why you bombed yet. I'd be definitely curious to know. That did not seem like a worthwhile use of munitions.
And please understand it too. Like, I'm sure Scherwi has now suffered the indignity of being cast a couple of times, but everything we're saying here is just purest of love.
Yeah,
I really enjoy seeing this play because it's so unique, but at the same time you can feel how much of this game that they've watched other people play too, and they're trying to implement those lessons in their own way, and it's really great to watch.
Yeah, like we're not like trying to make fun of you guys. We understand you're newer players. This isn't to like talk you down. It's just funny. It's fun to see it sort of play.
It's fantastic in the best of ways.
It's just completely and utter madness. And we're 33 minutes into the match, and I mean, BabyLucario is getting pretty good momentum now. I mean, he has all these Panzer IVs in the center. I mean, that's a lot of Panzer IVs, and there's not a lot of Shermans left, Khan. They're an endangered species at this point. I feel like BabyLucario is just gonna edge out the victory with just attrition.
Well, and that's a weird thing to say, that a German division is going to win by attrition, but if there's any group that's going to work against, it's going to be the French.
Yeah, the Blinde, even if you do want to build them C-phase for whatever insane reason you'd want to do that, still doesn't work out well. They just do not have that. Well, 20th Panzer, not the best, C-phase division, but better than French.
And frankly, their light vehicle play should be a little bit more active. I've been trying to keep half an eye over here to kind of think about how would I build this a little bit differently. Probably put maybe a couple more scout vehicles in, but other than that, really, really different and well thought out, actually, deck.
Yeah. I I also think it probably would have been in Suri's favour to be a bit more aggressive in A phase.
Yes.
Because he
Yes.
lost a lot of like initiative by not. I mean, both sides did. Let's be real here, but it definitely hurt Suri much more. But here you got the bombs coming in once again and just completely. I mean, those Mesosmiths are pretty nasty. They have a pretty fast reload, if I recall, so you can just constantly bring them up and blow anything to smithereens.
Certainly true. Certainly true. Now, the funny thing about this too is that we actually haven't seen any kind of IS-2.
Yeah, I'm sad about that, Khan. I want to see Papa Stalin.
Yeah, I think it's just a bad message when you send Papa Stalin to fight,
Friend.
you know, Papa Pétain. Like,
It's gonna make us peace talks really weird.
exactly. Exactly. Pioneer SVTs in the meantime, though, gonna have that long distance engagement against the Voluntaries, and yeah, this is one of those matchups that they should win twice every single day and 4 times on Saturday.
Yeah. Pretty busy day Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of that, the M10s being brought on in.
Wow. Oh
You
yeah, he
don't
has
see
those.
these. You don't see these ever on this division.
No, that's yeah. You don't. People usually just opt to get in Shermans most of the time. Well, I don't know. You see him like a little bit, but we haven't seen him at all in this match, and I feel like he's just scraping whatever he has left because he has no Shermans, and he must scream.
That was not what I expected the sentence to go at the end of that there. It is mildly amusing to me to watch a 57 mil try to engage 4 P4s, and the P4s are like, I'm bored, I'll fire at you later.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to be the 57mm right now. Yes, he not getting any penetration hits, which is a bit pathetic. I would expect him to be a little bit more effective, but that's not to be the case. Down south, yo, Cerise actually making a pretty good push of infantry, but the 2 Panzer IVs being brought in. It feels like he has an infinite amount of Panzer IVs, but I feel like he's almost run out of him at this point. But it just feels like he has, you know, up his sleeve another platoon of Panzer IVs. It's just, yeah.
I think one of the reasons that's the case, though, too, is that he's been husbanding resources really well across the entire match. I mean, P4s, we're so used to seeing them getting just pounded into the dust constantly. Here in the ME109s again. These guys.
Just,
secret MVPs.
yeah.
But we haven't seen the usual kind of profligate death of the P4s that we're so used to seeing otherwise.
Yeah, they've been trading pretty efficiently overall. Up north, we're seeing opposed to the Pioneer SVTs, half tracks, and the half tracks have been working pretty well as well, just because you're fighting against the rest in front division.
One of the last vestiges, I think, of true French nobility is up here, the Voltigeurs and the Superiors, and there is the tap out. That, yeah, there's a KD that I more expected here.
Yeah, 1,000 is difference, nothing too surprising there. And looking at the kills,
I didn't even see Hearth come onto the field. Lejeune over here done several kills. Jimenez are underneath that. Like, I'm going to assume the ME109s don't get a ton of kills, but they had a lot more stressing out, which is fantastic.
yeah.
3 kills from one right there. F1 underneath that, pretty solid. There are definitely some standouts. I mean, some of these Panzers are really just kind of picking on the half-track rushes. I think, like, Nigel over here was one of those.
Yeah, that's a lot of dead French half-tracks. You kind of forget how many the French get in terms of half-tracks, but, I mean, you would obviously forget if they just keep getting blown up instantly.
True. True. Well, JU-87 picking up 4 kills by himself as well. So
Not bad.
that's the kind of match we were seeing though too. I mean, like we're seeing some really really good aggressive play after both guys kind of got themselves settled.
Yeah.
Ideal, maybe not, but it again, guys, it was fun. It's really fun to see new players come to the game, especially after this time. I actually adore BabyLucario's little avatar there, but there we go.
Yeah. What an interesting match. I was very hesitant on that in the first 10 minutes. Like, oof, oof. But that ended up being, like, pretty great all in all. Like, it
It
definitely
really
was,
was.
like, it was a slow burn build up.
Exactly. It's exactly true. But folks, I know hopefully you have enjoyed it just as much as we have. Again, that initial kind of heating the oven up to a nice balmy temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, kind of nice.
Yeah.
And hopefully we actually get some more of these replays as well. If you guys are still kind of up for it, probably look into some more of these in the weeks ahead. Any final thoughts though, sir?
No. No, none, zero, nada.
All right. While Ryan is running you through his Duolingo course on how to say the word zero in multiple languages, I will wish you guys a very, very great week, and we'll see you guys all next week. Until then, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Ringaroo, take it easy.